Brendan Slocumb, welcome to the All Good Books podcast. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you guys so much for having me here today.
Thank you for being here. We're so excited to have you on the podcast, and we're even more excited to have you here visiting Columbia the weekend of March 28th to the 30th for the Read Freely Fest. I cannot wait. I recently finished Symphony of Secrets, so I have so much that I want to talk about and we'll talk about. So, again, thank you, Julie. Go ahead and kick things off, get things
Oh,
started.
okay. Well, since you mentioned Symphony of Secrets, that has been a staff pick of mine back in winter 2024, and now it's Jared's staff pick for spring 25.
It's so good.
So we love that book so much. I read it quite a few years ago,
Mhm.
but when I think about that book, there's something that kind of always sticks with me that I've wanted to talk to you about and ask you about. So, I've seen in other interviews, you've said that the book is really about the limits of human knowledge, which I think is so interesting. And at the end of the book, we realize that the characters that are in the present day that we're following, they never truly find out what happened to Josephine. So, what prompted you to make this a theme in the story, and keep Josephine's case unsolved?
Basically because, well, first, thank you so much for the kind words about the story. I appreciate it. It's actually my favorite book.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
It's funny. I hated this book when I wrote it. I hated it. I hated every word. Then I put it away for a while and I read it again. I was like, wow, did I write this? Is a great story. I just needed some time away from it, but
Yeah.
wanted to keep Josephine relatively obscure as far as whatever happened to her, because I thought just leaving a little bit of mystery would be it would be very accurate as to what's happening today. You know, there are still composers to this day, you know, back hundreds and hundreds of years ago, whose names we will never know, and we will never know why their music was absconded by someone else. We'll never know why they wrote this piece or what was going on in their lives or what else was going on with them musically. We will never ever know. We'll never find out. So I thought it was apropos to leave Josephine's whereabouts, her death. I thought it was pretty accurate to leave that as a mystery. And I think it worked. It's they did Byrne and Ebony, as you mentioned, they did everything humanly possible for Josephine's legacy. And I think if you're rating it on a scale of 1 to 100, I would give them a 99 for what they did. You know, if they were Sherlock Holmes, they could have figured out the other 1%, but yeah, they were in New York eating pizza instead.
yes, we love pizza, our favorite food,
Yeah.
for
I'm
sure.
so for our listeners who might not be as familiar with you, can you share a little bit about your background with music and why you write about it so much?
Yeah, sure. I was given great advice to write what I know. And the first thing that I wrote and let someone really like get into was a science fiction novel. And apparently it is terrible. And as I have gone back and reread it, it is absolutely terrible. I like to watch science fiction, but I am not good at writing it. But one of these days I'm going to rewrite that book. Um, um, Music has encompassed my life since I was 9 years old. The day I remember the day I picked up my first violin when I was 9, and it changed my life. It completely changed my life. Not only did it change my life, it saved my life. I would be in jail. I would be working someplace that was not making me happy, not making me nearly enough money. I would be a miserable person, were it not for music. When I say it's a life-saving force, I mean that 100%. Like it is a life-saving force. I'm living proof that arts education is extremely important, and music is a life-saving tool. I'm living proof. And so I like to share that. You know, there are a lot of people who have never seen someone who looks like me play a violin. And, I want it to be a normalized thing. I want it to be
Mhm.
absolutely normal that it doesn't matter what my skin color is, what my zip code is, what my bank account is, what my haircut is, what my eye color. It doesn't matter. You should not be surprised when you see someone like me not only playing a stringed instrument or any instrument, but excelling at it and loving it and having fun. I can sing, I could quote any rap song you want me to, go back to the 80s, not this new stuff that's going on today. I don't even know what they're saying. But I could give you, yeah, I could quote a rap song in a second and then turn around and hum the theme to Beethoven's Seventh Symphony. and it's just like, that's normal to me. And
Yeah,
I want this world to be a place where that is normalized for everybody.
I love that.
I love
That's
that
such a
too.
beautiful answer.
It's a great answer. I mean,
Oh,
you like music as well. I mean, do you like Cynthia Erivo though? Let's go there. Who are you listening to?
how dare you ask that question? How
I have
dare
to
you?
ask. I have to make as the president of the Cynthia Erivo fan club, and I'm not talking about just Wicked. I'm talking about when she was doing Sister Act on the West End
Right.
in the UK. I'm a huge fan. But I mean, I guess you do like her. But who you listen to as a man who loves music, is in music, and appreciate music? Who do you listen to? Who are some of your muses?
Let me go back to Cynthia for 1 second.
Please do. Come on.
One
Yes.
of the most talented, most underrated artist actresses I've seen in a long time.
Yes.
I first saw her in what was it, the good time at the bad time at the hotel, whatever that movie
Bad
was.
Times at El Royale.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I was, wow, who is this? Okay. And I just thought that was fantastic. She was great. And Harriet and everything was wonderful. I'm really, really an old school, like I'm an old school hip hop head. I am Eric B. and Rakim, Cool Monkey,
Mm,
Big Daddy Kane,
okay.
Beastie Boys, Biz Markie, Dougie Fresh. That's my stuff. That's my jam. But I listen to and appreciate everything. If Snoop Dogg comes on, I'm stopping what I'm doing and getting up and if it's gin and juice, I am up and doing whatever I need to do when the song comes on, and then I stop and go back to work or whatever it is. But I listen to everything. I'm a huge 311 fan. I am a huge I like the oldies rock stuff. I love Marvin Gaye. I love, just you name it, I have listened to it and I love it. Um, to me, it's not a form of music. It is just music. I
Mm.
love country music. I love bluegrass music. I went to Nashville in 2000 to learn how to play bluegrass music on my violin, and that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And it was life changing. It really was. I love everything. But if you listen to my Spotify playlist right now, you would be shocked. You're like, okay, I got everything from Destiny's Child to Kansas, and it's nuts.
I love that. I'm the same way. My Spotify sometimes, as I say, it can be a little schizophrenic because I grew up singing. So when you get to learn different forms, of whether it's an Italian
Hmm.
aria or a gospel song or the pop music on the radio, you do have that appreciation of all the genres. And Julie grew up singing too.
I did.
We all are music lovers, and same within that music realm. And thinking and connecting, going back to the book, and I'm glad you brought up Josephine Reed. Josephine is an incredible talent in the book, and no spoilers for those who haven't read it. But yes, come on, yes, yes. You better, y'all. Well, for those on Spotify listening, Mr. Brennan's holding up his book *Symphophony of Secrets*. It's a great cover, and those who are watching on YouTube, you see him doing it. So I'm just now narrating what you see. But going back to Josephine, I love Josephine. I love music, and when you do write the screenplay, or when we write together, or whatever the case may be, I think Kiki Lane would be a great Josephine, or even Cynthia, and you can just have her sing in the film. But serious part of the question, Josephine is an incredible, talented, and strong Black woman. So is Ebony Washington, and so are the women that are Josephine Reed's descendants. Can you talk to us a little bit about the strong Black women who were and are in your life?
Oh, wow, that's a fantastic question. I never gotten that question before. Just pivoting back to Josephine for a second. The funny thing about
Yes.
her is she was only supposed to be a minor character in the book for a couple of
What?
chapters. Yeah, when I came up with, I told my agent I wanted to do a character who lived with autism and had synesthesia. He was like, "What is synesthesia?" And I kind of explained to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he told me, he was like, "This is never going to work. Don't even think about doing it." And I was like, "I'm gonna do it." So, and then she just took over the story. You can't fight where a story goes. You just can't fight it. And she took over. Strong Black women. Wow, strong women in general. Well, I can say, of course, my mom, all of my aunts. Every one of them, who consequent, so they actually make an appearance in the book, all of my aunts on my dad's side of the family. So when Bern and Ebony go to Oxford, North Carolina, they are
Yes.
talking to my aunt Murtis, my aunt Sandra, my aunt Kay, my aunt Judy, my aunt all of them. And that was a conversation. I have heard that same conversation a million times. And I just thought it was funny. And I love my family and I love writing family dynamics. But I mean, I've always been around very strong people in general. got to start with my mom. Moms do what moms do, and mom had to hold it down, and she did, and it turned out okay. So I'm like, all right, thanks, mom. Just people in your life in general who want to see you do well and be successful, who build you up instead of putting you down. And I tell my former students and my friends and everything, you need to surround yourself with people who want to see you succeed. If they have any other ulterior motives, they are not your friends. You do not need to be
Mm.
around them. If they're not going to lift you up, hey, don't even bother with them. But I've been very fortunate to be around people who have constantly, they've done everything they can to lift me up, and I'm so grateful for that.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought up your mom because I did have a question surrounding Ray's mom
Huh?
because Ray's mom sounds like the opposite of your mom. And I had always wondered why you had chosen to written her that way. So my other question that I have written down for Violin Conspiracy was Ray's mom is so against him being successful in the music industry and even against him just going to college. So is there a reason you wrote her that way? Like, it just one more stumbling block for Ray to overcome, or was there like another reason?
It was all of the above. In the Violin Conspiracy for Ray, a lot of people talk about his mom being, oh, she was the worst. She was just greedy and selfish, and
Yeah.
she didn't really care for Ray and all of this stuff. And okay, what people need to understand is, okay, that section of Ray's life was back in the early 80s, 1980 specifically. And if you think about it, how many black single moms have seen their child want to
Yes.
learn to play out of all the instruments a violin? Maybe she didn't know how to support him, the proper way to support him to be successful. And it's like maybe she was discouraging him to keep him from getting hurt. Maybe that's what it was, or maybe she was just greedy and wanted a new TV, so he had to go to work at Popeyes. I don't know. You can take your own, but
Yeah.
my mom was as supportive as she could be. A lot of people don't really understand that when you start to learn to play a stringed instrument at a young age, it is a super investment. You invest time, you invest money, you invest energy. It's emotional, and I love that cat. And it's like,
Yes.
there's so much that goes into it that people are just unaware of. So, maybe they just don't know how to support the proper way. And
Yeah.
people have asked me that several times, what do I do? And I'm like, just go with what your kid is doing. And if your kid absolutely loves it, just keep encouraging them, just keep pushing them to get better and better and better. And everything will work out. Your kid's happy, you're happy, they're making other people happy by performing and playing and learning. And it also really does make you smarter because you've got to multitask like you would not believe. I could give you 12 things right now. If you were playing the violin, you have to do at least 12 things as a beginner at the same
Yeah.
time. And it's like, wow, it really does reconstruct your brain. So,
Absolutely.
people are slowly becoming aware of how to support their children who they've never seen,
Hmm.
do things like this. And it's getting better. I can definitely tell it's getting better.
Good.
Other than music, what makes you happy? I'm assuming writing is not always fun all the time, so I'll, include it if you want to, but I'm assuming, that is one thing that also makes you happy once the story's out and along with music. But other than music and writing, what makes you happy? What fills your life and what brings joy to your life?
Jared, I'm so glad you asked that question. I really, really am, because throughout my books, I try to make that a central theme. I tell everyone everywhere I go, whenever I do a book talk or a speech or whatever, do what makes you happy and don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't. Never let anyone tell you you can't do that. Ever. And never, ever, 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 ever give up on what it is that you want to do because it's going to make you happy. Um, Truly seeing people happy really makes me happy. As I was going for my walk today before this podcast, I stopped at a I stopped at a place for lunch, and I didn't eat all of my lunch because it was my first time at this place, and it was much more than I could have. I was like, whoa, this is more than I was planning on eating. And this guy came in, this homeless guy. He was hungry, asking everybody for stuff, and I said, here you go. Would you like this? He was like, "Is it hot?" I was like, "Yeah, it's hot enough, dude. Just take it." And he took the food, and it it made me happy that, I could at least do something for this gentleman. And I smile at people. I asked an old lady today, can I walk her across the street? And she was like, no, thank you, honey. I'm good. I just have a lot of packages and I have to stop. I was like, okay, it's fine. But anything that I can write, anything that I can do to contribute to other people's happiness, it really does bring me a sense of joy. Like if someone comes up to me and says, "I loved your book. That was a great story." That makes me smile because I know I injected a little bit of happiness into their life for a little bit of time. And with Symphony of Secrets, with it dealing with a woman living with autism, a lady came up to me last year and said, yeah, she was in tears, and I was like, "Wow, is the story that bad? I'm sorry, geez." She said, "I want to thank you because now I see that there is hope for my daughter who lives with autism. There is hope that people will actually see her for who she is. They'll look past her behavior, they'll look past her appearance, and they will actually begin to see the person that I see. And this book has given me hope that that will actually be reality." And it may, I mean, I cried along with her. I'm like, I'm so happy
Mm.
that we could do that.
Yeah.
I love seeing everybody else happy. And anything that I can do to contribute to a little bit of happiness, I'm there. That's what really brings me joy.
Incredible answer,
It's
Julie.
lovely. Well, I know something else that makes you happy is comic books.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Comic books make you very happy, and your next project coming out in May, I believe.
May
May.
13th.
Okay, May 13th, Dark Maestro.
Woo.
We are going to get to see your love of music and your love of comic books combine. And I am so interested. Oh,
I
look how
love that
beautiful it
cover.
is. It
Yes.
looks so good.
The yellow, the creamy white, and then that baby blue, or maybe close to Tiffany blue, like the pink. Come on now.
How about
Yes.
Robin's
Gorgeous.
egg? Close?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
Robin Eggs with that Kato mask slash stringed instrument. I love it. Come on now. Come on, Green Hornet.
Yeah, I feel like this is a combination that we haven't seen a lot thus far
Oh,
in
I love
like
that.
present day media as far as like comic books and music go. So when you were writing this, did that combination come naturally to you, or did you struggle a little bit to figure out how they could fit together?
I that's a really good question. I have to say I did struggle a bit because I could have gone straight down the comic book route. I could have just done ultra comic book and I would have been happy with that. But I have a certain fan base that you know not everyone has been collecting comic books since they were a teenager. Like me, not everybody's into it. So I really had to find a way. I did a lot of compromising to make sure that everything incorporated smoothly so that you can still get a good story with developed characters and you can throw a little bit of comic stuff in there, which is,
Hmm.
write what you know. And I definitely know comics. My office is full of them. And just it was more of it was the right story at the right time because I'm not going to give away a whole lot until the book actually publishes, but it has a lot to do with what was going on with me personally. So it's personal to me in that effect, and it also is a good sense for people who have never experienced, I'm going to say, urban life in Southeast DC or urban life anywhere on the streets of a city. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
not the greatest, and you watch movies and you hear reports and everything, but I'm writing it from a perspective of someone who actually has lived through it, and I've seen it every day with my students, and I've seen it daily, because I live in DC, so I see it all the time. Hey, puppy, and I see it all the time. But in that regard, it fit perfectly. It's a way to escape. I'll say that.
Okay. I
Incredible.
can't wait. And I'm so curious, do you have a favorite comic book character? Or is that
Mm.
the most difficult question in the world?
Or
That's
give
the
us top
hardest
three if
one I think
need
I've ever
be.
been asked. But I do. It's funny. Oh, I mentioned that. My absolute favorite comic book character is Spider-Man. I'm a Spider-Man
Mm.
fanatic. For Christmas, I got a 5'11" mannequin of Spider-Man sitting in
Oh,
my
wow.
space over there with yeah. So and I'm about to have another one made of another superhero. I can't decide between Aquaman, Gambit, or Firestorm. I don't know which one to do, but they all look really cool. So I don't know. I'm just a big nerd that way, but Yeah.
I'm shocked you didn't include Dark Phoenix. I'm shocked, disappointed, aghast. I
Is
mean,
that your
Only
favorite?
she's
because
one of my favorite. Dark Phoenix is
Okay.
incredible.
only because she appears sporadically. Something crazy's got
True.
to happen for her to come up. And if she was
Right.
around all the time, oh yeah, yeah, she's cool. She's very cool. And I think I've got her in one of these.
Oh, I love that. Okay, good, good, good.
And they're everywhere. Yeah.
Are you watching X-Men 97 on Disney Plus?
Uh, are you kidding? Of course.
Okay. Isn't it great? It's so good.
It's a really
And
well
it
written.
looks like the old show. Of course, it's
Yeah,
pumped up the saturation. It's more modern looking, but I'm very impressed.
as am I.
Julie, you watched X-Men growing up. Well, I'm
Yes, I
much
did.
older than Julie, so I'm always like, when I'm talking about shows that I grew up watching, I'm like, wait, like I'm almost 40. I'm like, wait a minute. But X-Men, it's incredible. It's
I
incredible.
know.
But it looks just like the original show that will come on Fox in the mornings. It's
Oh,
beautiful. So yeah, you have great taste, Mr. Brendan. Come on
Well,
now.
thank you so much, Mr. Jared, as do you, not only in shirts, but in comic book characters too.
I'm trying, I'm just trying and striving for sure. Julie, ask another question.
yeah, I this is something we like to ask all of our authors and guests who appear, but what is one book, or you can choose more than one, book that you think everyone should read in their lifetime?
That is probably one of the most interesting questions I have ever been asked. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna go with one of those is the Bible. I just think what the Bible should be. Everybody needs to read it. If you're a Christian, you should read the Bible. Not forcing it on anyone or anything, but that's a good book. And personally, I'm a fan of classics. Or what are considered classics nowadays. I'm not talking about the Russian classics like, War and Peace. If you can get through it, not God bless you if you can. I think I'm into classic mysteries. One of my favorite books is Murder on the Orient Express. That's one of my favorite books. And
Yes.
Hound of the Baskervilles, the Sherlock Holmes series. I
Hmm.
That was one of my absolute favorite books to read. But a classic to me, and it's sitting right there in my bookshelf, and I read this book once a year. I feel I'm such a dirt. I'm sorry. I'm such a dork. I apologize. I read this book once a year. It's the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Come on now.
Oh, that is
That's
not what I was
great.
expecting at
Me
all.
either.
I love that. I love that story. I love the
And there's
book.
nothing
It's
dorky
it's just
about that.
it's great. It's got everything. It's got action, it's got fighting, it's got sorcery, it's got characters that are amazing, and there's even a little bit of love thrown in. When you're a
Mm.
teenage boy, that's you don't want it when you're a preteen, I should say. You're not really concerned about that part. You just want to read the fighting stuff, and it's just a good story. I love it. I read it every year. I have it sitting right on my bookshelf where it's easily accessible, and I think it's a great book that everyone should be required to read. I think I was required to read it when I was in junior high, but yeah, it's good stuff.
Okay.
I
Has
think it,
that book ever influenced your own writing, do you think?
um, Not only in the sense of storytelling, because to me, the storytelling in the book is just fantastic. When you're reading something that you can't wait to turn the page, you
Mm,
cannot
yeah.
wait, and you're reading extra fast, and then you go back and read it again just to make sure that you got everything before you turn the page. When there's a story like that, to me, Epic of Gilgamesh does that to me, and that's how I write everything that I write because I want to be entertained that way. And so
Mm.
I write it like I'm basically watching a movie unfold, and that's how I like to write, and that definitely had some influence on my style.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
No, for sure. Absolutely. Everyone, you can catch Brendan the Slocumb, since I don't know his middle name. I'm being silly, but no, you can catch Brendan Slocumb next March 28th through the 30th at the Read Freely Fest that we are doing along with the Richland County Public Library. Brendan will be here visiting Columbia, South Carolina, and talking about his incredible books, his incredible work, and giving insights into his process, the characters, the books, all of the things. And I can't wait to meet you in the flesh. And at the risk of being redundant, and I'm always redundant, just actually. But thank you for doing this. I don't take it for granted your time. You're doing this because while we are a popular independently owned bookstore in Columbia, South Carolina, we are within season one of our podcast, and we've been very blessed to have guests like you, guests like Jeffrey Lofton, National Book Award winner and poet author Nikki Finney, and even New York Times bestseller Ashley Poston. So I don't take it for granted when people make the choice to come on. So thank you.
Thank you.
And we
I
can't
want to
wait to
thank
meet you in the flesh.
I thank you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all. Don't wear that shirt though, Jared, because I'll be like, yeah, I've seen that already. Come on, dude. Come on. Step it up.
I will bring the fashion. I'll wear something completely different. I'll give you
That's cool.
shirt envy part two.
Oh, well, there you go. I'll probably be in a t-shirt and I'm too fat to wear my jeans now, so I'll just have some joggers
Cut it
on.
out. The t-shirt looks good on you. You're doing great. You're doing
Thank you.
great
But
for
this
sure.
is phenomenal. I'm looking forward to going to the festival. Jonathan Houdt is one of my favorite people in the world, and I can't wait to meet you guys in person. And I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody in South Carolina. And we can, we get to talk about Symphony of Secrets, and I'll get more into Dark Maestro, I'm sure, and world will be a
Yes.
better place. Oh, last thing, if I can mention, I have
Yes.
a playlist for the Violin Conspiracy, but you can find on my
Ooh.
website, brendanslocumb.com, or it's on Spotify. Just type in Violin Conspiracy. I also have just released a playlist for the Dark Maestro as well. And
Ooh.
it's actually all cello music, which is some great stuff, some stuff some stuff you've never heard before, and it's going to be awesome. And one of my absolute favorite people, the artist, the hip hop artist, J.O. Blanco. If you haven't heard of this guy, you are missing out. Check him out on Spotify. He did a lot of the lyrics for some of the rap stuff that's in the Dark Maestro, and he is a star. He is a star, and get up on him right now before he blows completely up. I'm telling you, because when it happens, you're gonna be like, I knew that guy when. And I
Ah,
put
how
in the
cool.
book, and it's just fantastic. So check him out, J.O. Blanco on Spotify, and I'm so happy to include. I think three of his songs are in the playlist from the book.
I hope there's some Nicholas Britell in there because I do love his work. So I'll be looking for that, and I'll be looking for you to add the Dark Things to that list. So I'll definitely I'm teasing you, but no, I'll definitely add the Spotify playlist to the show notes. Again, Brendan,
Yeah,
thank you for everything.
thank
Thank you, guys.
you.
Y'all are awesome, and congratulations on your show, and best of luck going on in the future.
Thank you, thank
Thanks.
you.
Very
We will
welcome.
see you soon.